Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have 11 hearings with a couple where dad is trying to get a new parenting plan put into place because 2 of their 3 children have been living with him full-time since last year, but the parenting plan they have now gives mom full custody and dad only had visitation. Mom claims she's in agreement with this change, but she gets argumentative with the judge when he tries to help her, and in the end she curses at him and rage quits the hearing. The judge is angry about this and ends up giving dad full custody in her absence. Mom will eventually return and claim she's serious about recovery now, and she wants to know what she has to do to see her children. She claims she can't talk to them due to a restraining order, but this case has so many of them, she isn't sure which one it is. That just scratches the surface in this messy, messy case. So let's see what the judge thinks.
Okay, this is cause number 22-3-5808. I'll ask if Marcus Ruby is on the line. He's in the court. Ms. Ruby, come on up and take a seat. Either side where you no preference, and just make sure you're positioned well in front of the microphone. You can slide it in front of you, and doesn't amplify, it just captures your voice. All right. Perfect. Good to have you here. And then I'll ask if Samantha Granzo Carranza is on the line.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Okay, welcome to you. All right. So we're here for several different things. It looks like Mr. Ruby has filed a motion related to a motion to transfer the case to mediation, a motion for a temporary restraining order to become permanent, and a motion related to a temporary parenting plan and the like. And it looks like their service was effectuated based on the affidavit of service. And I'll just—
Your Honor, the only thing that I received from Kalama PD was the hearing notice. I have no other court paperwork in regards to this.
Okay.
Just old ones.
Messages saying that she received the restraining order paperwork.
Okay. Let me double check and see what's in the file, and then I'll tell you what it shows. So I see there's a declaration of service that looks like David Kearney of Kalama PD filed. He said that he served a notice of hearing and an immediate restraining order and a hearing notice to Ms. Granzo Carranza. And I think that's probably what you're talking about, Ms. Granzo. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The paperwork that I was handed, though, the immediate restraining order ex parte part is crossed out. So it's just it says and hearing notice. He said to disregard the immediate restraining order ex parte part. So I was really confused. I'm still really confused as to what it entailed. I just looking it over, it goes back to the restraining order that he had put in place back in 2002 or 2022, excuse me, that was dismissed after the 1 year of it being in place.
So Ms. Granzo, I appreciate that input. Let's before we go further, I just want to make sure we're clear on the issue of notice and service. So I appreciate your input. And then Mr. Ruby had some input. Can you repeat that?
Repeat what I just said?
Yeah, yes, please.
Oh, that I have messages saying that she got all of that. And then, yeah.
And those messages came from whom or
Samantha.
where? From where?
Samantha.
Oh, okay. All right. So, okay. So what the court does, the court relies upon just any documents that's officially filed with the court. And so the one document that I have is, so there's a docket notice that Mr. Ruby caused to be filed, which says, hey, on the 28th of February, we're going to have a hearing. And we're going to talk about the parenting plan, the restraining order, and mediation. So he filed that. And so then I looked to, and then he also had a lot of other different documents. He filed a motion, a declaration in support of a parenting plan, a motion for a temporary family law order and restraining order. And so those documents were filed back on February 13th. And then I see the return of service, which would be the individual who takes those documents and then serves or gives them to the other party, in this case, Ms. Granzo. So this Officer Kearney says, I'm a police officer. I served the court documents to Ms. Granzo on February 20th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And he lists the documents. It was a temporary protection order and a hearing notice. and a notice of hearing, which is probably the same thing as that he said before, hearing notice, and then an immediate restraining order, the ex parte, and then a hearing notice, which kind of sounds like the same thing. The hearing notice was mentioned a couple of times. What he doesn't mention or does not include in that is the motion that you filed regarding the mediation. That was not served in your declaration, basically where you're giving your explanation of what's happening with the kids. And then also your motion for temporary family law order, which is a 7-page document where you give some more explanation. That was not included either. It wasn't served. And so sometimes I'm not sure sometimes what happens with service. Sometimes something gets lost in the communication, and officer only serves certain documents, but not all of the documents. So in order to have a fair hearing, both sides need to know what the other side is saying. So you've kind of given your piece, said what you need to say and what you want to say, and then now Ms. Granzo hasn't read what you've had to say. So if she doesn't know what you've said, then she doesn't know how to respond, because then you would have another opportunity to respond to what she says. So that's a lot of words to say. We're not going forward today. So what that means is that there would need to be service upon Ms. Granzo of those additional documents. Probably just best to take all the documents that you filed and just have those reserved, and then have it noted up for a particular docket. Usually, it's a kind of a 2-week time frame that we all work off of. So if you, Ms. Granzo, so do you have any questions about that?
My only question is so with the restraining order part, what does that entail? Because up until the 20th, we were all doing just fine. Like the girls, and I'll be able to respond more to his side of what he's saying when we come back for the matter.
Yeah, so the February 12th order, the temporary restraining order, says the following, that there's going to be a hearing today. And the temporary order involves 2 children that are ages 10 and 7. And there are no restraints other than that there's a restraint on Ms. Granzo to not take the children out of the state of Washington, and that the existing order of October 21st of 2022 is in effect. So so the 2022 order, let me pull that up, December 21st.
States I'm allowed no contact or anything with my kids at all.
So that order from October 21st of 2022 says Ms. Carranza shall be the primary custodian for Bethany and Annie Ruby. Mr. Ruby shall not have visitation with his children until 1, he provides a clean hair follicle test to the court and the guardian ad litem, and 2, he petitions the court for supervised visitation. So that was
I currently have custody of both the girls.
Say again?
He doesn't have custody.
Well, Ms. Granzo, hold on a second. I need to hear what he had to say, and then you can respond.
I have custody of both the girls. I have a paper from Bethany's school right now. I haven't gone to Anna's yet. But I currently have both the girls enrolled in school.
Okay.
Like they're with me. They're not even with her.
But they do not live with him. One lives with him and the other one lives with his sister.
So, Ms. Granzo, if you could hold off just 1 second, and I'll let you know when it's your turn. So, Mr. Ruby, so there was that October 22, 2022 order that states that. Has there been other orders since that time?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay.
But like I said, I do have custody of both the girls.
Okay.
No.
My sister has one of them because Anna doesn't like all the promotion. I have 5 of the kids in my house. So she does better with my sister, but she's still with us.
Okay.
Right.
So the question was raised. So what is the temporary restraint? The temporary restraint, I just reviewed that so the parties can look at it yourselves from I
have a copy of it.
Okay. So that's the order that's in effect now.
Okay.
So service still needs to be effectuated with all those documents that you filed, Mr. Ruby. So if you're, I'm making an assumption that you want to move forward with your motion, have it heard.
Yes.
So you'll need to get the full documents served to Ms. Granzo and give her an opportunity to respond. And then we could come back here on the 13th of March and address the issues.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
how does that work for, because both my kids don't want to go home.
Mhm.
Like I have voice last night from Bethany calling her mom, telling her she's just done with her because of all the stuff that's been going on.
So your question is,
Oh
so your
my
question
God.
is, what do we do between now and the 13th?
Yes, because neither one of them want to go back home. to her.
Okay. Right.
I'm not gonna make neither one of them come back home. The girls, Bethany got a hold of me, and excuse me, Honor, but my kids got a hold of me on the 19th of January, stating they did not want to come home. And at that point in time, I okayed them staying with their dad, staying with their aunt. I was okay with this, and then on the 20th, I got served with the restraining order, and everything was fine prior to this. So I'm confused where all this comes into play. I'm just wondering, am I able to talk to my kids? Am I able to see them? That's
She
what
called
I.
me last night and you didn't answer.
So the only restraint that I see in the order that was signed, let me pull it up here again, just a second.
She had every opportunity to call the kids anytime she needs to. She's not blocked on anything and she doesn't.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, so the restraint provisions just prohibit Ms. Granzo from taking the children out of Washington State, and that both parties must not move, take, hide, or damage, or borrow against, or sell, or try to sell, or get rid of any property. That's the only other restraint that's in place currently. So between now and then, there's no specific orders other than that October 2022 order. And so the parties, you can kind of just do your best to make sure that the children are safe and well taken care of, and you can figure that out. And when we come here on the 13th, we'll have a full hearing and the court will make this.
Can I ask one quick question before we
Sure.
is Amy Turnbull still a part of this case? The guardian ad litem.
Ms. Turnbull, are you on the line today?
I am, Your Honor.
Are you still a part of the case?
I don't recall if I've been discharged or not.
I was just looking at, it looks like there was an order appointing guardian ad litem back in September of 2022. And other than that, I don't see any later in time documents. Let me see what the order says as far as discharge of the GAL. So the order, it says the appointment ends when the GAL and will be discharged by the court if the final parenting plan is signed by the court, parenting is decided or other, and nothing is indicated. So there's no indication of when the appointment ends. So my indication, I think at this time, it looks like the Ms. Turnbull is still assigned to the case, probably hasn't been active in the case for a long time.
It's
correct.
been a little while.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
No, that is it.
Okay. Okay, so so we will come back on March 13th. Mr. Ruby, make sure you quickly get those documents served to Ms. Granzo, pardon me. And then Ms. Granzo, if you have a responsive response, please get those filed and serve copies on Mr. Ruby.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll see everybody on March 13th. All right, thanks. Let's next, if we could please call the Marcus Ruby and Samantha Granzo Carranza matters. All right, looks like Marcus Ruby, you're here. All right, Mr. Ruby's present in the courtroom. And then I'll ask if Samantha Granzo Carranza is on the line. All right, not hearing a response. I thought I saw earlier today there was a message via Zoom making a request related to that. And I saw the name Granzo Carranza because it's a kind of a unique name. Did you see that pop up on the screen?
I have not, but I talked to her yesterday because I served her that paperwork.
Okay,
And
so
she said she was gonna be here.
okay, so it looks like there's a meeting chat there. What does it say? Okay, so yeah, there is a chat message there. It says, can we set the Ruby v. Granzo Carranza as I just received the rest of the paperwork yesterday. So she's making a request, but I'm not sure where she's at now. Ms. Carranzo, are you on the line? Let me check with you. So there's no response. So Mr. Ruby, do you know if she was served with all the documents?
Yeah, my friend Christina handed them all to her yesterday.
Okay. And has your friend filled out?
Yeah, I turned that in this morning.
Okay. Do you have a copy of it?
I do not.
So what happens with those documents? It would be a beautiful world if you turned it in and it goes right into the scanner.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen that way. There's some processing time involved.
Okay.
And so according to my file, I don't see it. Hasn't been uploaded, right?
Yeah, no, I just put it in there right before I keep it here.
Okay. Okay. So without that showing of that she's been served with that, oh, looks like she's coming in now. There she is. All right, so she's in the process of joining, still in the process of joining. Okay, next matter is the Marcus Ruby and Samantha Granzo Carranza matter. Miss Carranza, are you on the line? Is Samantha Granzo Carranza on the line? If you are, please unmute and state your name. She's in the call right now, but it looks like she's muted, so we can't hear you. Just for the record, I'll note that Ms. Looney's here representing the state. All right, Ms. Granzo, if you can hear me, I see that you're there. I see that you're unmuted, but I can't hear you. So we saw your chat message that you're making a request to set the matter over. And you said because you had just received the rest of the paperwork, I think you said yesterday. So I wish you I wish we could hear you because I really don't know what your position is. So let me touch base. So yeah, go ahead, Mr. Ruby.
She's wanting to come to like between me and her an agreement. And I'm not wanting to do that. Every time we do that, it goes nowhere. We've been through this process multiple times in the past. And I'm just not doing it no more.
Your Honor, I'm here.
Never that way.
Okay. All right. So Ms. Granzo, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I just joined in, and the last half of what I just joined in, I'm really confused because I was just served with the rest of the court paperwork yesterday, and had asked him if he was willing to sit down and talk over this, and he said yeah, but he was going to ask today for it to be set over. So I'm really confused.
Okay. So okay, so it looks like you received the documents yesterday, and that comports with what Mr. Ruby had indicated, that there's just a recent service of the documents. So with you just receiving the documents, there'll need to be an opportunity for you to respond to Mr. Ruby's position. So I think we probably just need to set this over 2 weeks to the 27th. That'll allow you time, Ms. Granzo, to file your response, Mr. Ruby to get it, and he can respond if you'd like.
I have an additional court date on the 27th.
Okay.
Is there any way we can do it
A different day?
this or
Sure. So this is your. Let's double check. So in the case, Mr. Ruby and Ms. Granzo, you can chime in on this. Is there a temporary restraining order in place currently?
yes. Well, there is. It's just some
No,
things aren't
currently
aren't
active. There is not, because when he tried to put the restraining order on me about a year ago, he no-showed the court.
Okay.
So the judge striked the matter. So currently there's no active restraining order, temporary restraining order.
So notwithstanding the certainty of Ms. Granzo's position, there is a temporary restraining order in place. And the reason I say that is that, pull it up here. So on February 13th, there was a immediate restraining order that was obtained via ex parte. And then on the 28th of February, that order was reissued until today's date. So it is still in effect. So with a request to set the matter over to allow everybody to see what the other side's position is, I'm going to reissue that protection order.
Okay, so with that
until,
being said, I asked about that when we set this over last time, and the only thing it said that I was not allowed to take my kids out of Washington State. So what is the temporary order for anyway? Because I've seen both of my children in the last 2 weeks. I've been to Marcus's house to see Bethany. There's been communication. So in regards to the temporary order, what am I allowed to do and what am I not allowed to do? Because I've been.
Did you receive a copy of the temporary order, Ms. Granzo?
What I received from Klamath PD was a temporary order ex parte, but the ex parte was crossed out, and that's what I tried to clarify last time, and was told that I'm just not allowed to take my kids out of Washington State.
So you can refer to
I'm
the
really,
order, and
I'm
the
just,
order is self-explanatory what the restraints are. Restraints are fairly limited in
the-
that it says,
yeah,
under paragraph 12, it says the petitioner and respondent must not take the children out of Washington State. The existing order of 10/21/2022 is in effect. There's an indication that there must not be a moving, taking, hiding, damaging, borrowing against, selling, or trying to sell, or getting rid of any property. That's what the restraint is. So
okay, so then am I allowed phone calls? Like that's compared to how all the other
So the
orders have been.
October 21st, 2022 orders in effect. That's what's
Okay,
that's
so
what
then there's no
controls.
clarification as to what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do.
So you can refer to the
I
order
have
for any
referred to the
specific,
order.
and that will answer your question. Did you have a question for me, Ms. Granzo?
Nope,
Don't be
not at all.
impatient with me. I'm trying to assist you.
I
So
understand
just
that,
be-
but
Ms. Granzo, hold on.
no,
Ms. Granzo, did you just say the F word?
I apologize, sorry. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
So Ms. Granzo, I'll just remind you that you're in a court of law, and that's completely inappropriate and impermissible. And if you do that again, you could be held in contempt. Ms. Granzo, are you still on the line, or did you chicken out and leave? Okay. Now, we please make sure that the record reflects that Ms. Carranza expressed profanity within the court hearing. She was warned of it, whether she heard it or not, I'm not sure. And that she exited. Sarah Tepperson. Thanks. So I'm reissuing that temporary order. We're setting the matter over to April 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning. And Ms. Looney, you're here. Let me just hear from you if you have any additional information.
No, nothing further to add, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So we'll be back here on that date. And then Ms. Granzo will have an opportunity to respond to your pleadings and requests, and we'll see you on April 3rd at 9 a.m.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks.
All right, I'd like to go back to the Ruby and Carranza matter. I'm just pulling the case up. I'm just pulling the case up. So we're here to address a few things. The court previously issued a temporary restraining order. We're here to address whether that should continue. And we're also looking at, looks like there was a motion for mediation. We had service of these, and then the motion for a family temporary, or a temporary family law order. These are Mr. Ruby's motions. Ms. Carranza, I haven't seen any response in the file.
I have yet to respond, Your Honor. I got a little frustrated, and when looking over paperwork that was served to me, my kids have been in my care since he returned them back. Hannah came back home right out a week before her birthday last year. So the end of July. Bethany came home the end of the school year last year. Both of my girls were enrolled in Klamath Elementary in my care. The only reason they're not with me is on March 13th.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to stop you because you need to file
I understand.
I'm not, I can't address you just bringing things up kind of during the course of the hearing. So we were last here on March 13th when Ms. Carranza apparently was on Zoom and asked for a set over via chat. Apparently she'd been served the day before, ended up having some technical issues, but was able to attend the hearing. Ms. Carranza got frustrated with the process and apparently left the hearing and expressed some things during the hearing that the court didn't appreciate. So the court reissued a temporary order. So what's in front of the court today is the request for the temporary order. I don't have any response from you, Ms. Carranza. Are you going to respond to this, or
Yes,
when would you do that?
I can have it in by Friday. We've got a lot of other things going on. I have 2 other young children at home. I start school on the 8th. It's a process, and
And are the children currently with you?
My oldest.
Wait a
daughter is
minute.
with me. My youngest daughter is with my sister because that's where she wanted to go. And my sister lives like 6 blocks away from me. She's currently at my house right now from break. I see her all the time. But that's just where my youngest daughter chose she wanted to go. Because I have 6 other kids in my house and she likes being a lot of time with my sister.
I'm going to put this over for 2 weeks. I am going to I'm going to reissue the temporary restraining order. Leave that in effect until the next hearing.
Your Honor, is it okay to ask what grounds for the restraining order and if it's not able to be answered, I understand it, but I just don't understand.
Well, I'm going to refer you to the court file and the pleadings that have been filed with the court. I don't have the right form here on the bench, but I am going to extend the immediate restraining order that was signed by the court on February 13th to our next hearing on April 17th. I'm also going to appoint a guardian ad litem.
Amy Turnbull should already be on the case.
Who is the guardian ad litem?
Amy Turnbull.
And do you know how long she's been involved in the case?
The entire time.
Okay, so wait just a minute. So if Ms. Turnbull filed a report back in 2022, has she been reappointed since you filed them?
Yes, so I just talked to her before our last court date. Not this one, the one before this one.
Your Honor, I may be able to help clarify that. I'm not sure why Ms. Turnbull's not present, but that was discussed at the last hearing. The order appointing her did not have any parameters for her discharge, so she had remained appointed. And so I don't know if the issue of her payment has been addressed moving forward. So that may be why she's not here today, but she is still active on the case.
Okay, I will, the court will reach out to Ms. Turnbull and make sure that we have a current order that addresses compensation for her. And then I'll need the parties back here on April 17th at 9 o'clock. Ms. Carranza, if you don't file a response by this Friday, what's going to happen is that Mr. Ruby's request is just going to be granted because we're now at a point where we were here in mid-March, and it was explained you needed to do that. If you're going to do it, you need to do it by Friday. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. So we'll see the parties back on the 17th.
Next matter I have is Marcus Ruby and Samantha Gronzo, cause number 2235808. Mr. Ruby is in the courtroom with us this morning. Welcome, Mr. Ruby.
How's it going?
And I'll ask if Ms. Gronzo Carranza is on the line. Samantha Gronzo Carranza, if you're on the line, please unmute and state your name. I'm going to take a look at the Zoom call listing of participants. Okay, I'm not seeing indication that she's there, and there's nobody in the waiting room nor seeking to be admitted. And Ms. Looney is here representing the state. This is a motion related to a variety of temporary orders, transfer of mediation, the case to mediation, and restraining orders, the like. And we were here last, how long ago was it? A couple?
2 weeks ago, and
2 weeks
then
ago?
2 weeks prior to that.
Right. So we've been here a couple of times, and I'm just going to pull up in my notes here to confirm when we were here last 2 weeks ago, both parties were here.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ruby is here, Ms. Gronzo was here, and we set the matter over to today.
Yes, she was here 2 weeks ago on the 3rd too, and the judge, I don't remember his name, told her she didn't have the paperwork turned in for her response on Friday, that it was just gonna go my way.
Right. Have you had any contact with Ms. Gronzo?
None. She knows where I live. She
Okay.
could have mailed me anything, gotten a hold of the kids at any time, nothing.
Okay. And then Ms. Looney, have you had any contact with Ms. Gronzo related to today's hearing?
No, we have not, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And then let me just double check with Ms. Looney first, if I may. Ms. Looney, as far as your input on the pending motions, do you have any input on them?
None directly, Your Honor. Seeing as Judge Warning did state that he would be granting the motions if Ms. Gronzo failed to file a response and appear, the state would just be requesting, if custody is changing today, that a short bench order be entered that states that Mr. Ruby's child support obligation would be ending today. Also, we're not sure if he's still requesting to go toward mediation, but we would ask that child support be reserved for mediation, and the state would be handling the order on that as well. Excuse me.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So double checking with you, Mr. Ruby. Ms. Looney indicated that, you know, if custody has changed, then your obligation to pay any child support would end today.
Yeah.
Any disagreement with that?
Nope.
Didn't think so. And then as far as mediation, if the court grants the motion to move the case, transfer the case to mediation, the state wants to be involved on that and just preserve on child support. So that could be a topic of conversation.
That's fine.
Okay. And so, okay, I'm just looking over my notes here, a couple different things. So the February 13th, I just need to pull up again the February 13th restraining order, make sure that's clear in my mind
Okay.
of what that is and who's the restrained party. So it restrains Ms. Gronzo. Okay.
sir.
All right. Okay, so I'll grant the motion. I'm not sure where Ms. Gronzo is. She had an opportunity to file documents between 2 weeks ago and here. Nothing's been filed, and there's been apparently no contact between her and Ms. Looney and Mr. Ruby. So I'll grant the motion and designate Mr. Ruby as the primary custodial parent. And that if I'll award Ms. Gronzo two hours per week of professionally supervised visitation
Okay.
on a temporary basis. And because of the change of custody, today ends any child support obligation. It ends today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any way I can add that we do like UAs before she sees the kids? Because that's the main reason they wanted to come live with me, is they were tired of their mom doing that stuff and them seeing it all the time.
Right. Yeah, that's a good topic to talk about. So what I was thinking, and we can maybe just kind of work this out is that if it's a professionally supervised visitation specialist,
Okay.
they don't allow people that are high to interact or move forward with any visits. So if she shows up high to a visit or they suspect that she's high, they're not going to let it happen.
Okay.
So I think that provides the safety for the children. Are you comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay. I do want to do one thing related to a family court investigator. I want to get a little more detail and information about what's going on with the kids.
Okay.
And the family court investigator, her name's Jen Schaefer, or Jennifer Schaefer.
Okay.
So she would be, I would appoint her. There's no cost to any party. She would prepare kind of a quick report, do an initial investigation, and be back here in roughly 4 to 6 weeks. And just to make sure everything, if we set up the parenting plan like we've set it up, where it's very limited visitation, she can give us a little input about how things are going with you and the kids and the like. So if you feel comfortable with that, okay. So let's do that. So I'm just going to make
Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Looney.
I apologize, Your Honor. When we were here last, it was noted that Ms. Turnbull was still appointed as the guardian ad litem. Her order appointing did not have any stipulation for when she would be discharged. And I don't know that the issue of her payment for continuing on the case had been resolved. I did bring that up, and Judge Warning did state he was going to reach out regarding that. I don't see her here today, so I don't know if that's been resolved. But I'm not sure if she would need to continue on the case. She had been appointed previously and provided a report.
Thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that. I recall that she was appointed. I'm going to take a look at the order appointing back in, looks like September of 2022. As far as termination, appointment ends, it's blank. So it looks like she's still appointed at this point. So I guess I was premature in talking about a family court investigator with Jen Schaefer. So I'm going to retract that. Ms. Turnbull is still on the case. So I think what would be appropriate is just to set it over 6 weeks and have her just give a brief report of how she thinks things are going at this point. So let's take a look at the calendar. Today being 17th, May 29th would be roughly 6 weeks. So we'll set it over to May 29th at 9 o'clock for a review, just a GAL review, just to give us an update to see how things are going. And then as far as Ms. Looney, as far as termination, ending of the child support obligation, is that a document that is that a form document, or is that something that I could just do a simple bench order and end the obligation?
A simple bench order should suffice, Your Honor, just so that it goes to the registry and GCS is made aware. Okay,
so I'll prepare that bench order that terminates Mr. Ruby's child support obligation as of today, April 24th of 2000, or pardon me, April 17th of 2024. And then I think that's it. Those are the two things I'll be doing. Do you have any questions, Mr. Ruby?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Looney?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Thanks for being here.
you.
That'll conclude, Darren. Thanks.
Okay, so that'll go to the 12th. And let me see here. There's one other matter here with Ms. Looney involved, looks like, which is the Ruby and Granzo matter. I believe this is only on for review for a guardian ad litem.
Yes, Your Honor, and I am substantially completed with my report, but not finished. And I don't know if Mr. Ruby is here or not today. But I would request a little bit more time so that I can get that report completed and served on everybody.
Okay, and I don't see him listed here. He's present in the courtroom here. So I did notice you filed a motion for additional time. Has anybody addressed that you're aware of?
No.
For Ms. Turnbull.
No, I don't believe they have.
Okay, it looks like that was done in April. Well, no, it was filed May 1st. I think, is Judge Evans handling all those? Do you know? So you're just asking for 15 additional hours authorization?
Yes, please.
Okay, that, I'm fine with that. I don't have an order, I don't think, on that because that wasn't noted on for today. But if you want to submit an order that, send it to my
Okay.
attention, I'll go ahead and approve that.
Okay, it may have been included with that motion, but yes, I will submit that.
Yeah, I just have, all I have in the file is the motion, and it doesn't appear
Okay.
to be, it wasn't noted for today. I saw that when I was looking through the file for today.
Okay,
How
thank
much
you.
time, how much additional time do you think you need to get that done?
The report, let me see what I put in at this point. Heck. Forgive me. It's gonna take me just a minute here. I think that 15 hours is more than enough. Right now I have 7.5 hours put into the case, and I don't think it's probably going to take me more than another 3 hours.
Okay, so how much time do you need as far as getting to?
Oh, that's what you mean. Pardon me. Sorry.
I'm looking for a date. 2 weeks
Um,
or longer?
Yeah, if we could do 3 weeks, that would be great. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so let's put that on for the 19th. That's a holiday apparently. So how about the 25th?
That would work for me. Thank you, Your Honor.
June 25th at 26th. My mouse is in the way. So we'll come back at June 26th for review of the guardian ad litem report. You should have a copy of that, sir, by that time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there's matters noted on two separate cause numbers, but it's Ruby and Granzo Carranza. The state may need to be involved in number 6 on the docket, depending on the outcome of today's hearing. So if I could ask for numbers 3 and 6 to be called.
Okay. This involves Marcus Ruby and Samantha Granzo Carranza. The cause number is 223-5808 and 223-2108. Looks like both parties are in the courtroom. So we have Mr. Ruby's here. You're Mr. Ruby, correct? Yes, all right, very good. And you're Ms. Granzo Carranza.
Correct.
Okay, very good. All right. Also, we have Ms. Turnbull, who's the guardian ad litem. Ms. Turnbull, are you on the line today?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So in reviewing the case in preparation for today, I reviewed a guardian ad litem report that was, I believe it was emailed yesterday, well, earlier this week. And I just wanted to confirm with Mr. Ruby, did you get a copy of it? Okay, he did. And then Ms. Granzo, did you get a copy of it?
I got it yesterday via email.
Okay, I think that's when I got it too, was yesterday. So, you know, there's a lot of information in that report related to the 3 Bethany Anna, is it Livea?
Correct.
Livea, okay. And so I don't know if you've had enough time to read and digest that, or if you're in a position where you feel like you could move forward with the hearing today, or if you need more
Your Honor, I
time.
was actually thinking about maybe asking for a continuance because I have a lot of things that I'm new to this part, and with the case with Bethany and Anna, I've been really poor on my attendance and how I've handled that case.
Mhm.
Now we have a new case with our 3rd child, and there's 2 separate cases. I would like to know if there's a way to join the 2 cases, so we don't have 2 separate cases going on. I mean, it's the same 2 parents and there's 3 kids instead of 2. I feel like it would be easier on the court's part as well as our part with only having 1 case number instead of
Sure.
2 case numbers.
Sure.
Again, I do have documentation to turn in regards to some of the allegations that on my part, and I have quite a few different parties that need to be served, and I'm kind of going at this blindsided. I don't have help or anything, so I'm just trying to do right this time. My recovery is my biggest part. My kids come first, but I have to take care of myself, take care of my kids. So my recovery, and then I got my mental health on top of it. So I'm one day at a time is what I'm doing. I've got all my papers and everything for both court cases here from start to finish with Bethany and Nana. Levea's is all right here, but I have documentation from, like I said, there's some allegations that have been that, I'm not sure how to word it accurately, but the allegations that have been made against me, I have documentation to turn in to show otherwise.
So you want to be able to respond to those
Exactly.
allegations? Okay. All right, Mr. Ruby, what's your vantage point regarding the guardian ad litem report and moving ahead today, or maybe continuing?
I'm all good with it. My only concern is she is missed the last court date she was supposed to be here towards, has made no contacts to any of the kids. She's supposed to be going to do that 2-hour visits twice a week and has had no try to do any of it. So I'm just like,
Okay. What's your position regarding a continuance to allow additional information? You know, for example, the guardian ad litem submitted her report and has information in there. Ms. Carranza wants to respond to that and provide more detail. And
Okay.
are you in a position where you want to provide more detail also?
I'm good with the continuance.
Okay.
Because I was also trying to bring LeVay into our other case as well to make it easier.
Okay, sounds like you're both interested in just having maybe just a one cause number
Yeah.
and having just merging them together. We call that a consolidation order. Ms. Turnbull, do you have any concerns if we were to do a consolidation order?
No, I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay, so what I can do, if it sounds like the parties, I think that'd make life simpler. I just have one cause number. I can draft an order of consolidation, consolidating them into one case. Madam Clerk, do you have any suggestions as far as which case should, as far as cause number should remain? And we can talk later if, but. Oh. Okay, so the 2022 cause number would continue on and the 23 would be subsumed. Okay, let me just write that down here so I don't forget that. Family law. Oh, I see. And so they're both now threes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Ms. Carranza, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, Your Honor, in regards to the visitation with my children, there is an active CPS case. But none of the 3 kids are involved in that active CPS case. The active CPS case is in regards to my 4th child, Raina, who's not a party to this case because she has a different father.
Okay,
I've been in contact. I deal with CPS on a daily. Like
Okay.
I have a dependency case going on to get her back, and that's part of the documentation I'd like to submit to you, this
Okay.
court. So it's all being cross-referenced.
Okay.
There's a restraining order or protection order between me and Marcus. So to be able to make contact, to be able to see my 3 kids is impossible.
does sometimes no contact orders will
I
have,
can't even get through to his wife. I mean,
so,
there's
so let me finish. Can I ask you a question?
Mhm.
So sometimes no contact orders will have a provision or exception that allows a third party to communicate regarding needs of children or visitation of children. Does that
That
no
third party
contact
was-
order? So let me finish my question.
Sorry, Ron.
Does the no contact order have a provision that allows for that?
Not to my understanding, no. It states that contact can be done with CPS, but I've talked to CPS about it because there's no case with the older 3. They won't supervise the visits.
Okay. So where that no contact order, do you have a cause number for that?
Yeah, it is the cause number that actually. It's 22-3-00058-08. It was received February 20th of 2024.
Okay, let me just pull it up here. And tell me the date again. That was
It was received to the court on February 20th of this year.
February 20th. Okay.
Uh,
Taking a look at the second document. The first document I looked at was signed on February 23rd. It's a temporary family law order. It makes reference to a restraining order. So I just need to find that. I'm assuming it's this document. You by chance, do you have a copy of that document with you, Ms. Carranza? Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah.
What page is, what page does it show that there's, what does the caption say on the top right corner of the front page? Just
Every
go to the right side of that.
immediate restraining order, ex parte, and hearing notice.
Okay.
It
And what's the
was,
date on the top right corner? There's usually a stamp.
it was filed February 13th, 2024 at 9:54 a.m.
Is that a petition or an order? Okay, the clerk was able to give me a little guidance on that.
Okay.
So let me just pull that up here. Okay, so I'm looking at that order. It's dated February 13th, 2024. Restrains Samantha Granzo Carranza, protects the two children, Bethany and Anna. The restraints are the following: do not disturb the peace of the protected person or any of the children. Do not, that's it.
Which on my part confuses me, because with all our other, at the very beginning of the case, the very first restraining order,
Mhm.
I wasn't allowed no contact, like at all.
Yeah.
And they were supervised visits, and then, I keep getting told I'm allowed to video chat with my kids, but then how am I supposed to video chat if there's a restraining order between me and the other parent? Um, I was absent at the last court hearing, and I do apologize for that. I have multiple court cases going on, and my court dates kind of overlapped each other. I thought it was the 18th and the 19th, and it was the 17th and the 18th, so I do apologize for that.
Okay, so the only, and Mr. Ruby, you can chime in also, it shows the only restraint that I show from that February 2024 no contact order is the restraint upon Ms. Granzo Carranza is to not disturb the peace of the protected person or any of the children listed.
Yeah.
That's your understanding?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know if there's any other orders out there, but this particular order, that's the single limitation.
Am I able to, can I ask a clarifying question, since we're not able to communicate outside? And
So when you say that you can't communicate, where does that prohibition?
Well, my understanding is there was a restraining order between me and Marcus. I wasn't allowed to have any contact with him at all either.
Is that in a different order?
No, that's just the way I understood this one.
Okay,
And it could be just a misunderstanding on my part from the very beginning of the case to this part.
Okay.
At the very beginning, it wasn't a good situation 2 years ago. And a lot's changed and a lot's happened in the last 2 years.
okay.
So I'm just,
So Mr. Ruby, do you know of any other no contact orders?
There was a restraining order put in place back in 2022 that I believe you put back in effect when she missed the last court date.
Okay,
that was my understanding, which is why I haven't made contact, because I don't want to get in trouble and mess anything up more than I kind of already had.
a lot of moving parts here. So let me just double check to see if I can find any indication as far as any other restraints. And Ms. Turnbull, also, if you have any information that you'd like to share that might be of help, I'd certainly welcome that.
I believe were multiple restraining orders, and so I appreciate there may be some confusion. It may be helpful to clarify at this point what we need to do going forward.
Right.
And also, what the definitions mean. I think, it may not be clear to Ms. Carranza what the definition of disturbing the peace is.
Yeah. So on April 17th, we were here, Mr. Ruby was present, Ms. Carranza was not. And at that point in time, Mr. Ruby was awarded primary custody of the children, and Ms. Carranza was to have professionally supervised visitation 2 times per week for up to 2 hours per visit. And then just to make sure that you're not under the influence, that was the supervisor's role. And then Mr. Ruby's obligation to pay child support was terminated as of the date of the order. And then Ms. Turnbull, the JAL, was directed to investigate and write a report, which she has. So that's kind of where we're at. I haven't thoroughly looked at the cases, because there's 2, to see if there's other restraint orders or no contact orders. So I can't give you any advice on that. Actually, I'm prohibited from giving you advice. So I would just encourage Ms. Carranza to look at very carefully all the cases to see what restraints there are or may be. But the one that you referenced, that February 13th, 2024 restraining order, the order restrains you, and the restraints relate to Bethany and Anna, and you're not to disturb the peace of those children. it's kind of squishy what that means, right? But there's no prohibition from communicating with a fellow parent to discuss visitations. Right now, the visitations have to be professionally supervised 2 times per week. But you could communicate with him or have a third party communicate with him to make those arrangements so that the kids can see you and you can be with them.
Professional supervised visits, like, would that have to be like an agency? Could it be like professional? I think of like an agency, but is there a way to maybe get some? I don't have anything. I'm on the ABD program, so in a sense, I get a form of disability, so that's my only income. Right now, it is just me. I don't have any of my children right now to have, well, I mean, child support, yes, but I mean, there's no kids in the home, so my income is, you know, for paying bills. I mean, I pay my bills and I'm broke.
Right.
So I have no way to pay for a supervisor. With my youngest child, I am granted visitation, and that's what documentation that I'd like to submit to you, to the court, so you guys can see from
Okay.
the CPS side to this side. Is there a way to maybe change it from from professional supervised to like maybe a relative or a family member that Marcus
Yeah.
agreed that he can pick whoever does the visits? I just know I have.
Question. Yes, there is a way. There's a court order from April 17th that says there needs to be professionally supervised visitation. If you want to change that, the way to do that is file a motion with the court, submit a copy to Mr. Ruby, and then he can respond, and then we can have a hearing on it to make a determination. But until that time, until you've submitted the motion and the case has been heard, then that order from April 17th would still be in effect, requiring the supervised visitation. But the means to change it would be a motion to change supervisor or change supervision level. Does that answer your question okay?
Yeah, I just.
Okay. Mr. Ruby, do you have any questions at this point?
No, you don't.
So just to make sure, we have the GAL report, so both parties are interested in providing additional feedback on that. And then there was also Mr. Ruby, it looks like you had filed a motion for a parenting plan, and you had served a bunch of documents to Ms. Granza Carranza, and there's a big long list. There was two things, one item was missing, which was the petition to change the parenting plan. So you'd served all the documents, but I noticed there was one missing.
Okay.
So there's the petition. So review that. And then Ms. Granza Carranza, you had submitted a motion for a parenting plan, but I didn't see a copy of a declaration of service or declaration that you had served Mr. Ruby that. So just wanted to make sure you're aware of that we wouldn't be addressing that today because there has not been service.
Was just talking to the person that served him in regards to that is my bad. I do apologize. So yeah.
Just want to let you know that that's why we're not going to be addressing things further. So at this point, with both parties desirous to submit additional information related to the guardian ad litem investigation and report, generally we allow a 2-week set over. That would allow both parties to submit declarations from your vantage point that would elucidate any issues that are brought forward by the GAL. So if we look at a 2-week time period, today being the 26th, that would set it to July 10th. Would July 10th be a day both of you would be available? Mr. Ruby's available? Sure. While she's checking with that, Ms. Turnbull, are you available on the 10th of July?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
So she's available on July 10th, Ms. Turnbull said.
I'm gonna say it'll work if for some reason because I have another court case going on, and this is what happened back in April with my court case got mixed up together. I'm gonna say yes if for some reason I'm just gonna say yeah. I'll make it work one way or another. I will make it work.
Okay. All right. So we will set the matter over for review of the guardian ad litem report with additional input from both parties. That'll be on Wednesday, July 10th, 9 o'clock in the morning. Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, in regards to the professional supervised visits, I do have a PCAP worker, and she's a mandated reporter. Is that an option for her to maybe supervise my visits?
So my understanding with a professional supervisor is that they're paid for their services. And there's a particular training that they've undergone.
I have for my youngest, I actually have a visit with her today at 1 o'clock. That's why I was saying, I understand.
So in response to your specific response to your question, I don't know. What I'm concerned about is that there's a professional there supervising the visits, that they will intervene if they need to. They'll take notes, they'll be aware, they'll notify the court of anything that's untoward. And good also.
No, I'm very aware of how the visit specialist works.
Okay. So that's where we're at. So I think we'll be back in 2 weeks.
I say we're also in contact with the CPS workers as well. I can talk to her and see if there's maybe something they can do, because that's, I believe, where she's supposed to have her visits with them at.
Yeah, the idea is that the desire is not to prevent visits from happening. The desire is to make sure that everything's on the up and up and the children are safe. So if Mr. Ruby feels comfortable with a professional supervisor, being a PCAP worker, he could certainly chat with her. And if he feels comfortable, that's great. Otherwise, I think it needs to be a professional supervisor who that's what they do for basically a living. That's their employ.
Okay, I'll talk to my visit specialist that monitors my visits with my youngest.
Okay, so we'll be back July 10th. Make sure when you do submit your information, your declarations related to the GAL report, that you submit it with the court and also submit a copy to each other,
Okay.
and to the guardian ad litem.
One quick clarification in regards to the stuff for Livea. Since the cases are being combined, we still have do we have to serve the state as well when we file?
Good question. Ms. Looney, do you have an input on that?
Yes, Your Honor, we would need to be served.
Okay.
We will need to have information on the parenting plan so that we know what we may need to do regarding child support.
Yeah, it's a good clarifying question. Thank you. All right, I think that'll conclude things for today. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. The first matter I was wanting to call was on my docket is number 8. That's Ruby and Bronzo Carranza. I'm not sure if the parties are present in the courtroom. I did not see them on Zoom.
Okay. All right. So this is Marcus Ruby and Samantha Granzo Carranza, 22358-08. So we have Ms. Granzo Carranza is present, and we have Ms. Turnbull, the guardian ad litem. She's on the line with us, and then I'll ask if Marcus Ruby is on the line. Marcus Ruby. All right, there's not a response, and I'll just double check the participant list, do a search for his name. All right, Marcus Ruby, come on up, Mr. Ruby. Oh, I just barely called your case. On the line on the Zoom call with us is Miss Looney from the state, and then Miss Turnbull, the guardian ad litem. She's present, and so
It's not even letting me join on my phone.
So just a friendly reminder: if you're on the Zoom call, make sure you're muted. I'll help that person by muting them. Okay, so go ahead, Miss Looney, if you had any comments related to the case.
Your Honor, I was just noticing that the case was noted for a temporary order, and my understanding from our last hearing was that the parties would need to renote that separately for the temporary orders, that we were just here for the GAL review today. So I just wanted to confirm what we would be addressing.
Okay. Ms. Turnbull, do you have any input on the scope of today's motion or hearing?
I don't see that anything was filed, so I am not very clear about the scope of today's meeting.
Okay, that's a fair answer. Let me ask Ms. Granzo Carranza as far as items to be addressed in today's hearing.
I've been trying to get a hold of Ms. Turnbull in regards to visitation and whatnot, and just trying to get everything situated. And I have yet to be able, I've contacted her once, been in contact with her once, and it was right after court last time.
Okay.
But have yet to be able to get back in touch with her. I'm in between phones. I've also had a few other things come up aside from this case in regards to my other daughter, who I'm going through dependency for. That's what the documents that I'm trying to get in order to turn into you guys, because I do have visitation with my youngest with a visitation specialist. I myself am unable to pay for that out of pocket. And still have not had any visitation or contact with the kids, as I'm still unsure of the the no contact order, or I'm not sure how the if it's a no contact order or restraining order and what I'm allowed to do and not allowed to do. I know it says not to disturb the peace. However, sending a message could just be disturbing their peace, and that's not at all my intention. My intention is solely my kids. If we have to have a third party to communicate, I'd be more than willing to do that. If it's, disturbing the peace just to make contact with their dad to try and set up a visit or just video chat with the kids. I'm going on since April without seeing Labea. Beth and Anna haven't seen since January, February. So as long as I've been without my kids, I was just approved for drug court. And so I've got a whole other things going on. My kids are my main priority, but drug court kind of tops that, because if I don't do my drug court and stay in compliance with that, then I get taken from my kids altogether. And I'm not trying to do that. So working with CPS and drug court, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I have SUD assessment today at 2:00 at Fort Maine. I attend NA meetings. I'm working the steps. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just, communication is hard because I'm in between phones. I just got an actual working number, so I do plan on reaching out to Ms. Turnbull later this afternoon, if not tomorrow. So my apologies for not getting the documents that I asked for this to be sent over, turned in. I'm trying to juggle a lot here, and one person, it's a little difficult.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks for that update. I appreciate that. And then, Mr. Ruby, just your impression of what the scope of today's hearing was going to cover.
I was just hoping that was we were just gonna end it all today, get everything figured out and just get everything finally situated.
Okay. All right. So I appreciate everybody's input. Kind of what I gathered from the review of the file yesterday was that there was an order entered in on April 17th that gave custody of the children to Mr. Ruby. And then Ms. Granzo Carranza was going to have, the order said that she could have a professionally supervised visitation 2 times a week for up to 2 hours. And then Mr. Ruby's child support obligation was terminated because he has custody of the children at this point. And then the last part of that order is that Ms. Turnbull is going to provide a report by May 29th. So I think that report has been submitted. It was that submitted on June 28th, Ms. Turnbull, thereabouts?
Yes, thereabouts, yes.
Okay, all right. So as far as today's hearing, I think that order from April 17th is still in effect. So I'm not sure if what else we would be doing here today, because it sounds like Ms. Granzo Carranza was going to get some additional information. She has a lot going on with dependency cases and the drug court and the like, and so she doesn't have that at this point. So I'm not sure if there's anything really to do. There's not a pending motion, so I'm inclined just to say we have that order in place, and the children are with Mr. Ruby. There's potential for visitations, and Ms. Granza Granza's working her steps, hopefully getting stronger and better. And so the children, stronger, better parents are always better for the children. So we definitely encourage everybody's effort in that regard.
Is there a way to, my bad, can I ask, am I allowed to video chat with the kids? I don't, so I've been told that I'm allowed to, I've been told I'm not allowed to, and I just would like clarification on that, because I don't want to reach out to anybody and get myself in more trouble than I've already got myself in.
Sure. You said that there was a restraining order. I'm not sure where that order is coming from. Is it a criminal matter
Well,
or civil?
So at the very beginning of this case, 2
Okay.
years ago, there was a restraining order. I wasn't allowed any contact with Marcus at all. And so my understanding is that original order was put back into place. And so that's where my confusion is coming into play. And that's why I haven't made any contact, because I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. So let's see if I can find that here just quickly. 60. Okay, thanks. Okay, so clerk's paper number 60, and there's an extension. So back on February 13th. So February 13, 2024, there's a temporary restraining order that was entered that restrained Ms. Granza Carranza from disturbing the peace, as you'd mentioned, of the protected person or any of the children, Bethany and Anna. So that was a temporary order. Then that order was reissued on February 28th. And it was set over to March 13th to review that. And then on March 15th, that was extended again until April 3rd. So on April 3rd, it was reissued and we set the matter over to the 17th of April. So from there, I see that the temporary order was, had been extended a few times. We get to April 17th and then I don't see an extension at that point unless I'm missing something. April 17th, let me go back. Did I miss one?
That's my understanding too, Your Honor, is it kind of got dropped from there.
So I think at this point that the restraining order is not in existence.
Okay, I just don't, sorry, excuse me. Like I said, I just want a clarification because I don't want to reach out and get myself in any more trouble than I've already gotten myself in.
Right. So at this point, the April 17th order controls talking about primary custody with Mr. Ruby. There's not a provision therein regarding video visits and the like. If the parties can agree to that, that's fantastic. If you can't agree, then one party could bring a motion and ask the court for that particular relief.
Okay,
So at this point, I don't think there's anything to do today other than that clarification we just made. So we'll just strike the hearing, and then the parties, if there's any future relief that you're asking for, we'll continue. We'll hear from you, but at this point, we'll just work under the April 17th order.
okay.
Okay. Any questions?
For the visitation part of it, my thing is she was set to do those a while ago and has yet to do any of that, and it's all she has to do is just go to the CPS case to do it, and she hasn't. Because we've been in contact with Rachel, the head of the CPS office there, and that's all she said she had to do is just go in and set the visits for him.
Your Honor.
For the
Well,
supervised visits.
Yeah, I'll let the parties figure out the visitation. The order is going to control, and then hopefully that visitation time can be figured out. But at this point, we'll just let the parties work on that.
Yeah.
Just to,
So I don't think there's anything else to do today. So there's no pending motion. We have a lot of cases on today. So if you have one final question, I'd be happy to entertain that. But I think that
just in regards to the getting in contact with CPS, I work with CPS on a daily.
okay.
And like I've asked my worker who's handling my dependency case in regards to it, because there is no active CPS case with Bethany, Anna, and Livea.
Okay.
They can't do anything about supervised visits over there.
Okay. So at this point, I think that my earlier comment stands. Nothing for me to decide today. So appreciate you being here today, and good luck with things. Next, I have Marcus Ruby and Samantha Granza Carranza, 223-0005808 is the cause. All right, both parties are present. We have Mr. Ruby present. Good morning. And we have Ms. Granza Carranza here. Good morning. Just wanted to let the parties know, Ms. Granza Carranza just recently entered into drug court, which we're excited and happy about. I think there's a real concern for appearance of fairness, not necessarily actual fairness, but appearance of fairness. Just with drug court is a kind of a special vehicle in that I'm the drug court judge right now. And so part of my job is to really be an encourager and recognize people for the great things that they're doing in drug court. And I'm all in on that. And I think that if I was in Mr. Ruby's shoes or in any other person that's on the opposite side of a case, there would be concern that judge is like a big cheerleader for the person that's on the opposite side of the litigation. So I think the optics are tough. So what that means is that I'm going to recuse myself from hearing the case, and then we'll set it to a docket in which another judge who's not doing the drug court could hear the case. So I can't go forward with the motion today, but generally I would like to look at setting it to it'd be a Tuesday docket, either at 9 or 1, and I'm just going to double check with Madam Clerk. Based on the cause number, it ends in an even number, which that would be, do you know? 9 a.m.
10th is closed.
10th is closed, okay. Is there any concern if we were to just set it to next week and put it on the 1 o'clock? Okay, let me check with you all. So we're looking at next Tuesday, which would be the 10th, and it would be at 9 a.m. Are you available on that date?
Yeah.
Pardon me, 1 p.m. Sorry, 1 p.m. on the 10th.
Tuesday, the 10th at 1 is. We have
Drug
drug
court.
court at 1:30.
Yeah, that's right. So I think we probably need to avoid that. So let me just check with the parties on if we could do that. And Madam Clerk, you said on the 10th at 9 a.m. it's closed. So we would have to look at the 17th at 9 a.m. So Tuesday, the 17th. Does that work for your schedule? Yes, sir. Does that work for your schedule? Okay. We'll set the matter over to the 17th of September. That's a Tuesday, and that'll be at 9 o'clock. So we'll just reconvene then with a different judge. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
All right, good morning. This is the Calais County Family Law Attorney Docket A. I'm going to call one matter to begin with. The numbers have changed a bit, so it may not correspond with what you have, but I'm going to call the Marcus Allen Ruby v. Samantha Granzo Carranza, not quite sure, apologize. I don't know if anybody.
She was just checking which.
Go get.
I'll be right now.
And Your Honor, this is Amy Trimble. I'm the GAL on that matter.
So my judicial assistant tried to reach out to the parties and did not hear back from the parties, but this matter is being set over to September 24 at 1 p.m. I have a conflict in hearing the case. So it will not be this morning.
Can I ask what the conflict is?
I have information in regard to the case that would not make it fair for me to hear the matter. So I will not be able to hear it. So it'll be set over to September 24 at 1 p.m. in front of Judge Basher.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then let me just check in who I have in the courtroom. Ma'am in the front row. Oh, you're number 2, so let's call your case next. Do I have Marcus Ruby? Okay.
And Your Honor, this is Amy Trimble, the guardian ad litem on that case.
Oh, great. Thank you, Ms. Trimble. Okay, and Mr. Young, you're free to log out now. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop that video and mute so we don't get sound back. Do I have Marcus Ruby present?
I've tried to reach out to him a couple times and have not heard back.
Okay, let me just get into that digital file here real quick. I'm just looking for service. I have service of the child support order.
Well, this hearing was continued when Judge Evans had to recuse himself.
Okay. Well, I'm
I believe
just
Mr.
looking
Ruby.
at motion for temporary orders with proofs of service in August. Has something occurred since that time?
I do not believe so.
Oh, no, on September 4th, Judge Evans had to recuse for conflict. So at that time, thank you, Ms. Turnbull. I wasn't seeing that note. You all were present, and so this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It was set to September 17th. Yeah, I'm just going through the history here because we have a recusal. Oh my goodness, okay.
The 1 PM bucket, but I don't know what happened.
So what happened? What happened on the 7th? So from your September 4th hearing,
Yep.
it was set to the 17th. Did you all appear on the 17th?
Ms. Turnbull appeared. Marcus was not present at that hearing as well.
And then, because I don't even have notes from the 17th, does the clerk?
Judge Han had to recuse herself as well because of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, normally we would have notes showing that. So did the hearing on the 17th take place? Because the clerk and I don't have those notes.
I appeared, Ms. Turnbull appeared via Zoom, and she said that it was set over to today because of a conflict of interest.
Okay. And I'm not, are you seeing anything with that in there?
We had an email
Okay.
that asked us to set it over to 1 PM on the 17th, but I was gone that day, so I'm not sure what exactly.
Okay. And so Ms. Turnbull, what I'm trying to establish is that Marcus had actual notice that today at 1 o'clock was the date for this continued hearing, because our records aren't showing that.
It might not be clear, to be honest.
Okay.
It was clear to me. I think it was clear to Ms. Ronzo. I'm not entirely sure it was clear to him.
Yeah.
Judge Ron stated that there was phone calls made to let both me and Marcus know that the court date had got set over, but nobody could reach me by phone. Nothing was clarified whether he was reached or not.
And I've been having trouble reaching him, so I don't know if the court would be able to reach him if they had tried.
Yeah. What I'm inclined to do, I know, and I'll just, that we don't have any minute notes about the date and time. Oh, go ahead.
There's just a rescheduling here from the 17th at 9 to today. But we don't have any way of verifying that he actually
Was notified. What I'd like to do is, well, someone's back there shaking their head. That's not what we're gonna do in the courtroom, ma'am.
Sorry.
So, I can't, I mean, you've had a lot of recusals and that is no fault of your own. I just can't move forward with the hearing if I'm not satisfied that all parties were notified. I'm not satisfied that Mr. Ruby was notified that today was the date and time. That doesn't mean he wasn't. I don't have proof of it. And that's not a fault of you or Ms. Turnbull or anyone. It probably falls back on the court. There's nothing in the file that shows he knew about this. So what I'm going to do is give you a new date that works for you. I'm gonna, again, folks, stop.
Okay,
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about folks who are here observing. Stop shaking your heads, because you don't have to be here and you can leave the courtroom. Okay, there are certain criteria I have to meet to enter an order when someone is not present. Those criteria aren't met, and I'm not blaming anyone but the court. We haven't documented that he was notified. I am going to document it in an order and give you a new court date. I can set you on. Is our October 1st closed? No. It's not. Oh, that must be Judge Hans.
No, we were good.
Oh.
No one going, but Judge Hans was very full, so, but there's a recusal anyway, so it has to be subject to the classroom next week.
Okay, so I could do October 1, which is next week, or October 8 at 1 o'clock. Do you have a preference?
The sooner the better.
Okay. October 1st. And then Ms. Turnbull, does that work for you?
Sorry, I muted myself. Yes, it does.
Okay. And then I'm going to create that order. We will mail it out, but does anyone have a good email for Mr. Ruby? I would prefer to have the judicial assistant email him the order.
I have an email for his wife that I could put into the chat momentarily.
Okay. And and I'll check with the clerk too. Do we have an email on file for him?
Yeah, I have Brooke Justine
What is it?
Brooke Justine.
Oh, is it Brooke Justine? Is that the one you have?
It's different.
Oh, yeah. If you would put in the chat what that is, we'll email the order to him.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, we'll have you back next week, Tuesday, after he's notified. And even if he's not here next week, we will move forward.
Okay, so,
Okay.
the documents that were handed to you, can those stay with the case or?
They will stay with the case. Let me just make sure I've got everything that you submitted, so that doesn't become a question too. I can't file
that without a cover sheet.
Oh,
These we'll keep until next week.
we will keep these. Yes. Oh, were these not filed yet? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, it looks like you handed up some documents today that haven't been filed yet.
So the court, the dismissal for CPS, I filed
Yep.
on Friday, so by next week, hopefully you guys have it.
Okay,
And then I will go file the UA.
and actually, just give me 1 second, I think.
This we don't need to actually have it.
We have access to that.
Okay.
So
I just wanna
you
make
could
sure
just
the court had a
reference
copy of
that. I have filed under seal a 920 UA. Is this one different?
This is new.
This is
Okay.
just from today.
So go ahead and file that one.
I was
And
gonna
then,
say, so being in drug court and whatnot, as soon as I get them, I
You
get a
just
copy
file
of it and I bring it over. to you
perfect.
guys.
So if you do that now, we'll have it by next Tuesday online. And then
Okay.
the orders that you prepared will go back to the clerk and carry over to next week.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. thank
Okay,
you.
yeah, hang in there. Okay, I'm gonna call, we have in the courtroom, I believe, Samantha Granzo Carranza. Come on up, and Marcus Ruby. Ms. Bliss, are you in the middle of dockets?
I'm here for.
Okay, okay. All right, and I have Ms. Turnbull with us. Mr. Ruby, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, they are updated, okay. Just got. Just looking at some documents that just got filed. These appear to be the most recent UAs for Ms. Granzo Carranza showing negative normal UA results. Mr. Ruby, are you aware of those?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Give me just a second here to get, I also have the temporary order that Ms. Granzo Carranza is asking for from this court. Okay. So back on August 12th, ma'am, you filed for temporary family law orders in this case. I have those with me, those proposals. And I guess, Mr. Ruby, have you had a chance to review the proposed temporary orders?
A little bit, not a lot. I've been working a lot, so I haven't had a lot of time to work, like 6 days a week. I'm actually currently at work at the moment. So I haven't really had a whole lot of time to sit down because I get home late and I'm up early. So I haven't really had a whole lot of time.
Okay.
I've kind of skimmed through them, yes.
Okay. Do you know, and I'll look back, I guess I have a couple questions. Number one, how did you all end up on the represented docket?
So
I'm not 100% sure. We finished all a couple months ago and everything was set. She was supposed to do supervised visits and everything was good. She didn't want to do supervised visits. She just wanted to get around them. And then she came and served me with paperwork. And so I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
the state is involved in this matter, but I can clarify for that.
Okay.
We're on this docket because Judge Hahn and Judge Evans have both recused themselves from this
Oh.
matter.
Got it. That makes sense. I was not picking up on that recusal. And then Ms. Turnbull, I know you also have been involved in this matter, and I'm looking back to Judge Evans' April 17th order, where Mr. Ruby was awarded primary custody. There was supervised visitation given to respondent, and then the GAL was appointed. Subsequently, now we have a motion for temporary orders that certainly changes that playing field and is alleging several deficiencies on the behalf on petitioner. I guess, Ms. Turnbull, what input can you give the court at this time?
Well, the concern last spring, I believe, has largely been remedied. Ms. Carranza was actively using drugs and had a suicide attempt. She did have a dependency case that was filed, and the two youngest children were removed from her care. One was placed in foster care. The second child was placed with Mr. Ruby and his wife. And Ms. Carranza has since entered drug court. She, as you see with her UAs and the other documentation that she's filed, she is actively in treatment and is sober. She has been for several months now. She is doing quite well. The dependency case has been dropped. She has her youngest child back in her care, and she would like to have Lavea back in her care as well. I think that Mr. Ruby and his wife have some concerns given the history about letting Lavea go back with Ms. Carranza, but they haven't put that in writing, so that I have seen. So that's where we are. She is doing much better at this time.
And I guess just procedurally, is this a case where really since 2022, you all have just been operating under temporary orders? There's never been any final parenting plan order issued?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something, because typically with a case that has this 2022 history, we'd be talking about adequate cause findings to readdress, but I'm not showing at any point where there's ever been finality of your parenting plan orders.
That's correct.
Okay. And so up until Judge Evans' April 17, 2024 order requiring supervised visitation, what did visitation and residency for the child look like?
So the last few years, the girls have gone back and forth between me and Marcus. It's been a little bit of a struggle. They'll live with me, and I take them to visit dad. Like every 6 months, I'm gonna be 100% completely honest, they bounce back and forth. That had a lot to do with my addiction and my active use and whatnot. It's like I told Mr. Turnbull the other day, there's gonna be a lot that needs to be done in regards to me and my older two. In regards to like family counseling and whatnot. And I would love to get that started. I just can't do anything about it until I can establish some sort of visitation. Back in April, Judge Evans requested supervised visits. 2 days after that, I attempted suicide, and the younger two were removed from my care. I was stuck on the 3rd floor in the hospital, was there for about 72 hours, was released, and by the time I got out of the hospital, my youngest, my 1-year-old, was placed in foster care, and Lavea had been placed with Marcus. Prior to that, Lavea hasn't been involved in any of these court matters since 2022. It's only been Bethany and Anna. Up until April, Marcus had nothing to do with Lavea. which is why I'm asking for the return of Livea, because I have been the only home and the only parent that she knows. I've asked for my visits with the girls. I have not asked for all 3 of them to be returned home just yet, because I feel like that would be a lot on my plate considering the recent, well, the recovery time. I have 84 days today. You know, I'd like my youngest with Marcus to be returned home. Had CPS not placed her with Marcus, I would already have her back. CPS dismissed our case September 19th. And I'm not trying to take Livea away from Marcus by no means. In the temporary orders, I asked for Livea to be returned home to me full-time. And visits with my older 2 on the weekends. Every other weekend, on the weekends that Marcus has Bethany and Anna, he is able to have Livea. I'm not trying to take her completely away from him at all. I mean, it is her dad. Whether he's been active in her life up until recently, that's, you know, it's still her father. So, I tried to, when I did the temporary orders this time around, I went in to go motion the court to change it and had found out there was no final order done, which is where this temporary order comes into play.
And I'm just looking to see, and maybe I'm missing it. Hold on. So Ms. Turnbull, I know I had received your original review and recommendation, which did support removal from Ms. Carranzo's custody. At the time there was active use going on. Is there an update I'm missing, or are you able to give that update today on your opinion of what visitation should look like at this time?
Sure. I think it's reasonable to have visitation. I think given Ms. Carranza is, you know, still fairly newly sober, and I don't know that it's necessarily great to put Livea 100% back in her care, but it's reasonable to give her some time with Livea. And so whether that's weekends or, you know, a 2-2-5 plan, something along those lines.
Mr. Ruby, what is your position on unsupervised visitation at this time? I do have quite a series of negative UAs over the last several weeks and months.
Yeah, so I'm okay with supervised visits at this time. Once she can prove that she can keep up with the clean UAs and everything like that, then we can transition into unsupervised visits. But like I said, at this time, I think it'd be better for supervised. That way, you know, I don't want to put them through more stress if it's not needed. But I know the girls want to see their mom.
What's your position on unsupervised visitation? That's what I'm asking.
Not really comfortable with that yet. Just because Livea just got comfortable with me. She's opened up. She's an outgoing little girl, and I don't want to see that get turned around in any way.
Are they in any sort of counseling?
Yes.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
When I spoke with Mr. Ruby's partner, Brooke, just this week, she had missed an appointment and they hadn't actually gotten started with counseling. I did speak with Ellen Wynn, who's the school counselor where the girls are in school, and they have the opportunity to have counseling in school if a parent will come in and do the intake, which will take about an hour. And So I'm hoping today we can arrange to have one of the parents go in and do that. Ms. Nguyen will make the referral. We could get both Anna and Bethany in counseling at school so that the parents aren't having to transport them. I know that Mr. Ruby and Brooke have a lot of children in their home, and that's difficult to do that transportation. But I do believe the children need that counseling.
And this is the first I'm hearing of the school counseling part of it, so I'm more than willing to do that.
Okay.
And I can get a hold of my wife and have her go down and do that today.
None at all.
Okay.
Before Beth and Anna went and lived with Marcus, Bethany was actually engaged at Climate Elementary with counseling there.
Okay.
And from my understanding, has not been engaged since. So she would really benefit from the counseling. Anna as well.
Okay. And then I know Ms. Turnbull, I think if I read the July report correctly, that kind of ended your kind of initial assignment to the case. My hope, and I'm going to make some changes here, but my hope is before we actually do orders that I could reappoint you to reengage in this investigation process. Because I'll just note specifically too now, there does seem to be allegations. Ms. Carranza is proposing that this court find several 3B factors by Mr. Ruby, including neglect, substance abuse, lack of emotional ties, use of conflict, withholding the child. So quite a few limitations she's proposing against him. Because here's my thought, and I know this is a very long worded question to you on reappointment, but I am going to issue an order that allows unsupervised visitation. I do think that Ms. Carranza has proven to this court that she is entitled to that and that the children are safe doing so. So I am going to do that through a bench order at this time that amends the prior order Judge Evans put into place. We'll talk about when those visits make sense. That order is also going to include a mandate that the girls, and is it all three girls were still, all three children? Because your proposal has Bethany, Anna, and Lavea listed.
So I'm not, like I said, I was asking for the return home of Lavea just because of I'm fresh in recovery, you know, and to ask for all three to be returned home, I feel like would just be setting myself up for failure.
Okay.
And I'm not at all trying to do that. Upon return home, if any, I do plan on getting back involved with CPS and doing family voluntary services.
Okay.
Yes, my case with my youngest was dismissed, but they've offered and are willing to still support me. And upon return home, I'm 100% for that because of everything that did take place back in April. There's a lot that went on that went against me, and all I'm trying to do is prove that that's not who I am anymore.
So with the visitation right now, so I'm not changing the primary home today.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to see if Ms. Turnbull's willing to be reappointed. I know she's never really been discharged, but reappointed kind of back at our normal 22 hours, et cetera, because you probably hit a cap in your original investigation. But reappointing her so the county will pay for that further investigation, make a recommendation to the court about what this should look like. But for now, if we're doing unsupervised visitation, is the request for all three girls to be part of that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, Ms. Turnbull, before I go further and talk about what that looks like, would you be willing to have the court sign an order if reappointing you to start this process over, given kind of the new landscape of where we're at?
Yes.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
If she does get her visitations, can we set it to where it's just her and the kids and like not her friends and everybody else included? That way it's just them and the one-on-one time?
Yeah, tell me what the concern is and I will be happy to address that.
So I just want to make sure that it's between them, because I know when they were in Sam's care last time, she would always pawn them off on her friends so she can go hang out with other people on the weekends. And so I just want to make sure that it's just going to be her and her kids.
let me just
That
check.
way they get that time that they have.
Okay, just to check in. So where you currently live, do you have roommates, other people
I
around?
live on my own in Clam. I live,
Okay.
I'm housed through Kelso Housing Authority and I live alone.
Okay,
I honestly have no friends. I have a sponsor. I go to the 1414 club all the
Okay.
time. If I'm not at home, I'm at the 1414 club
Okay.
or I'm in treatment.
okay. So if there was, just for sake of making everyone feel comfortable with how this goes temporarily in my bench order, if we were to say unsupervised visitation at your home, however, no adults should be there who are not agreed to by the parties or otherwise approved by the court. Would that work
So-
for you?
Yes, I do have a question though.
Okay.
In regards to that, because up until April, Marcus hasn't been a part of Levia's life.
Mm-hmm,
And she knows one other man as her father,
mm-hmm,
and that's Raina's dad.
mm-hmm.
And he would like to see Levia too.
Okay.
I completely
Let's just baby
understand.
step this in.
Yes, I
Because a lot of
completely
times,
understand that.
a lot of times what I'll want from the GAL that I'm now reappointing is we will look into the backgrounds of other significant others or adults who may be around the kids.
Okay,
That is a very common part of what we'll do. So just temporarily at this point, while you guys are getting to know each other,
again.
I do think it makes sense that it's just the four of you.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I completely agree to that.
Okay.
In regards to that part though, I'm totally okay with that. Would it be okay to do a video call? Or do you want me to hold off on that? So no other adults with me while I have the children. I completely
Yes.
understand that, but like a
Yeah.
video, like on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
Is that
You mean
allowed?
when they're with him and not with you?
I mean, if he's willing to do the video calls, I mean,
Here's what I'm trying to get at. So I'm giving you in person at your house.
Yes.
Visits. Let's start with that. When does that work for you? If I did weekends with you,
Yes,
Friday evening, to Sunday, 5 PM, does that work for you?
that works for me.
Okay.
I am in, I do have treatment from 5 to roughly 7:30 on Fridays.
Till
So-
when?
7:30.
So maybe Saturday mornings make more sense, because with a 2-year-old, that's kind of pushing it with moving
I
them
mean,
around.
it's just right there in Kelso Grade Street, so I could have them picked up by like 7:45 and then go home if Marcus or, is to have him fed.
Okay.
I have no issue with that part.
Okay, Mr. Ruby, you haven't filed anything with me, so I don't really know your position, but why don't you let me know what you're thinking about visitation?
So that works for me. I was
Okay.
thinking on Sundays having home by like 3:30, 4:30 because dinner's around
Yeah.
5:30 to 6.
Okay, so would Fridays pick up at about 7:45 to 8 work for you then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what I'll do is put in the bench order, Friday, 7:45 to 8, you pick up.
Okay,
And then you'll return them 3:30 to 4:30 on, so I'll give you that hour, because I know things happen with juggling 3 children, especially a 2-year-old. So between 3:30 and 4:30, they'll be returned. And I like that because then they can kind of reacclimate to your house, Mr. Ruby, so they can get ready for school.
no, I completely
Okay.
understand that.
So we'll do this for now. We'll put in the order counseling, evaluations, and UAs. Oh, you brought up videos. While during the week, Mr. Ruby, I know with several children, it can get a little hectic. Do any of the kids have their own ability to video mom?
Yeah.
Okay,
I say we got both of the, so all of our older 4 kids all have their own like at-home cell phones now.
okay,
So that way they can all talk to their friends at school and whatnot.
okay,
So, but yeah, they definitely have a way to, if they needed to, get a hold of their mom or something.
okay. Do you want there to be set times for video calls, or are you okay if the children decide when they want to video call mom?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, like I said, Bethany has access to her own phone at all times. So does Anna. I'm
Okay,
just waiting on Anna's to come in because we ordered her one and it didn't work. So I had to send it back, get a new one. So I'm waiting for it to come in and she'll have her own as well.
okay. So what I'm gonna call this is video and telephone calls are allowed to mom while in residence with dad. I call it child-led, so it's gonna be at their discretion and choice.
Okay,
If when we come back, that needs to be further clarified. Some people have asked me for specific times, but it feels like the two of you are maybe willing to work to let the children decide when that needs to happen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Bethany's really
Okay.
responsible until I trust her with that decision.
okay, okay.
Your Honor, is this gonna be every weekend or every other weekend?
So
Just so I,
right now I have it as every weekend. Do you need
nope,
I-
I'm okay with
something
every
different?
weekend.
Okay,
I am A-okay with that. I
okay,
appreciate you.
okay. So we're gonna do this for now. Since I'm reappointing Ms. Turnbull, my thought is, let's at least for now set a 30-day review date for kind of a status of how the new visitation plan is going and any information Ms. Turnbull may have on a preliminary basis. Why don't we set that for November? Let's do November 12th at 1 o'clock. And then hold on. Let's see. Maybe February 11, 2025 for what we would call our final GAL review or report date. Those will be our two set dates, November 12th, February 11th.
Okay.
If parties have issues that come up and you need to get that noted on, nothing precludes either one of you from filing motions and noting it on. Those are just going to be our two set dates as of today.
Okay.
Does that work for the parties?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do a bench order. It'll get signed after docket today. If you all want it, sometime later this week, you can grab it from the court. But
Okay.
Mr. Ruby, are you okay with having those visitations start this coming Friday, or do you need additional time?
That's fine.
Okay, so this Friday will be our first, I'll just put the date in there so there's no confusion. October 4th is when that will begin. Video visits can begin now.
Okay.
And can we clarify which parent will be going in to do the referral for the counseling?
Mr.
I
Ruby,
will.
you will? Okay,
Yes. Me and my wife will.
okay.
Because if I'm at work and I'm not able to get to it, she will be at home and be able to do it. So.
Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is hold off on your temporary order. We're just gonna have this bench order in place until we get a little more feedback from the GAL, and then we can talk about orders at that point, okay?
Sounds good to me. Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Ruby, anything from you?
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you both for working together on this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
I'll take it back just to keep it for the
Okay.
file for,
To work off of next time.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Now I'm gonna go probably report and do the report.
Okay, sounds good. I have Ms. Bliss here on the Hill matter.